You look at that empty corner by the back door and decide it's not big enough for anything real. Fresh fruit stays something you buy in a plastic clamshell at the store. That corner could actually hold a fruit tree, a real one, fruiting every summer, sitting right there in a pot. I've been putting together a handful of videos on growing food in pots, and this one is about 5 fruit trees that fit in a pot on that same patio. No yard required. Figs, blueberries, tart cherries, blackberries, a cold hardy citrus, all things you're still buying at the store. Once they're established, that's somewhere close to $300 a year staying in your pocket instead of the register. Not every tree on that list behaves the same way in a container. One of them needs something specific done in the first year, or it never fruits at all. That's coming up. Most people rule out fruit trees before they ever look into it. They picture an orchard, rows of trees, 10 years of waiting, a backyard the size of a park. So they buy the same fruit at the same price every week for the next 20 years, and never once check whether a tree could actually live in a pot on the patio they already have. That assumption is doing all the work here. Not the space, the assumption. 5 trees, 1 pot each, and by the end of this you'll know exactly which one to start with, including the one nobody believes will work until they see it themselves. Search for container fruit trees online and you'll find lists full of dragon fruit, mango, banana. They also need a heated greenhouse in most of the country, or they die back to nothing the first hard frost. If you're in anything colder than the coast of Florida, that list was never written for you. What I actually look for is simple. Does it fruit reliably outside, in a real backyard, with normal winter protection, not a heated structure? And does it replace something you're already buying? A tree that produces something exotic and expensive-looking isn't saving you a dime if you never bought that fruit in the first place. That's the whole filter. A fruit tree earns a spot on a small patio by one measure, whether you're already paying for that exact fruit at the store right now. Bloom and looks don't factor in. If you're not buying it already, it's just decoration in a pot. None of the 5 on this list are genetically modified, in case that's crossed your mind watching other videos on this. They're naturally compact varieties, selected over generations for their size, not engineered in a lab. Same fruit, same flavor, just a tree that never outgrows a container. Before the list, one thing that saves you a wasted season. Don't start any of these from a pit or a seed out of grocery store fruit. A seed-grown tree is a genetic gamble. It might take 5 years to fruit, and what it produces might not resemble the parent at all. Every variety on this list is either grafted onto dwarfing rootstock or grown from a rooted cutting, which is the only way to guarantee you get the compact size and the fruit quality the name promises. Look for specialty online fruit tree nurseries first. They ship bare root in late winter, which is both the cheapest way to buy and the healthiest way for the tree to handle the move. If you'd rather see what you're buying, local garden centers usually start carrying potted dwarf fruit trees in spring, though the selection is smaller than what you'll find online. Either way, buy from somewhere that names the specific variety. If a tag just says fig tree or blueberry bush with nothing else, that's a sign it wasn't grown to stay small. Start here because it's the easiest of the 5. A blueberry bush stays small on its own, so a 5-gallon fabric grow bag is plenty. The one thing that trips people up is the soil. Regular potting mix is too alkaline. Blueberries want it acidic, and if you can water with collected rainwater instead of tap water during the growing season, the bush holds that acidity a lot longer. Tap water in most areas is alkaline enough to work against you over a full summer. Once it's established, a single bush in a pot can put out 3 to 5 pounds of berries a year. At what blueberries run in the store right now, that's real money staying out of the cart. Second on the list, and this one solves a problem most people don't even know they have. Regular blackberries are a nightmare, thorns everywhere, canes that take over a whole bed. The thornless dwarf variety stays compact enough for a 5-gallon pot and skips the thorns entirely, so you're not bleeding every time you harvest. It wants full sun, at least 8 hours, and it drinks heavily once it starts setting fruit. Let the soil dry out during that window and the berries stay small and hard instead of plump. A mature bush in a pot can produce 5 to 10 pounds in a season, and blackberries at the store aren't cheap. Third one, and it fixes something that stops most people from even trying cherries. Standard cherry trees usually need a second tree nearby to pollinate, which is a hard no for anyone without room for two trees. The dwarf bush variety is self-fruitful. One plant, no partner required, and that alone is the reason most backyard growers never considered cherries until now. A 7-gallon grow bag works because the roots stay shallow and fibrous. The mistake here is the same one that shows up across all 5 of these. People water on a schedule instead of checking the soil, and the roots end up sitting wet with nowhere for the water to go. Wet roots can't pull in what the plant needs, no matter how good the soil underneath is. Push a finger 2 inches down. If it's still damp, skip the watering that day. One more thing about the dwarf bush cherry that surprises people. These stay under 4 feet tall, which means you can cover the whole thing with bird netting and pick the entire harvest from a patio chair. No ladder, no reaching overhead. What's already sitting in your fridge right now? Blueberries, blackberries, cherries? Tell me which one and I'll tell you the exact container size that fits it. Almost nobody covers this next part, and it's the reason a lot of people try this once, lose the tree over the winter, and never try again. A tree in the ground has roots insulated by several feet of earth in every direction. A tree in a pot doesn't have that. The roots are sitting just a few inches from open air on all sides, which means a potted fruit tree can freeze solid at temperatures its in-ground cousin would shrug off without a problem. If you're in a colder region, treat every tree on this list as if it needs protection a full zone or two colder than what the tag says, because the tag is talking about a tree in the ground. You don't need a greenhouse for this. An unheated garage, shed, or an insulated porch that stays cold, but doesn't freeze solid works for most of these once temperatures start dropping into the teens overnight. Move the pot in before the first hard freeze and bring it back out once nights are reliably above freezing again. If moving pots isn't realistic for you, grouping them together against the warmest wall of the house and wrapping the containers themselves in burlap or an old moving blanket buys you several degrees of protection, sometimes enough on its own. The kumquat, coming up next, is the one exception. It handles real cold on its own, no garage required, down into the high teens before it even goes fully dormant. Fourth, and this is the one people are most surprised even survives outside the deep south. A kumquat specifically handles real cold down into the high teens and goes fully dormant instead of dying when temperatures drop. Calamondin is the other option if you want something that fruits closer to year-round instead of just winter, though it's less cold hardy than the kumquat and does need that garage or shed protection once hard freezes start. Either one wants a 7 to 10 gallon container with a fast-draining citrus mix, more sand and bark than regular potting soil. The mistake is treating it like a regular houseplant and watering on a fixed schedule. Citrus roots want a real wet and dry cycle. Soak it fully, then leave it alone until the top few inches are bone dry before watering again. And here's the one from the hook, the genetic dwarf fig. Every fruit tree on this list so far wants more room to produce more. The fig does the opposite, and this is the part that goes against everything that feels logical. A fig tree needs to be root-bound to fruit heavily. Give it a big container thinking you're helping it, and it spends years building roots instead of fruit. Keep it tight, a 5-gallon unglazed terracotta pot, and the restriction itself is what triggers the tree to put its energy into fruit instead of growth. The watering is just as backwards from instinct. Let the soil go completely dry between waterings. Keep it consistently moist like you would the blueberry, and the figs split open and rot right on the branch before they're ripe. Winter matters here, too. A dwarf fig can survive real cold at the root if it's in the ground, but in a pot most regions colder than the Mid-South need to bring it into that same unheated garage or shed for winter, same as the blackberry and the cherry. That's why I planted mine expecting it to fail. Every instinct said a tree needed room to grow. It fruited the second summer in the same tight pot, because the pot was never the problem. Every one of these 5 earns its container the same way, through the fruit that used to cost you money and now doesn't. The fig just proves it louder than the rest, because the tree that looks like it needs the most room actually needs the least. You don't need all 5 at once. Pick whichever one matches what's already in your cart most often, blueberries, blackberries, cherries, citrus, or figs, and order it this week if you're buying bare root, since late winter is when the best nurseries have stock. If you'd rather buy potted and skip the wait, that starts showing up locally in spring. If lifting a full terracotta pot or a soaked fabric grow bag is a concern, put it on a wheeled plant caddy from the start. You water it, feed it, and reposition it for sun or for winter shelter without ever having to lift the container itself. That's the difference between doing this for one season and doing it for the next 20. If this is the kind of thing that's useful to you, it helps a lot to subscribe so the next one lands in front of you too. If you're not sure how many pots your space can actually hold, I've got a free garden planning calculator on the site that lays that out for you. And if you want to go deeper into growing food in containers beyond just these 5 trees, that's exactly what the guide on the site covers. Both are linked in the description. I'd start with the fig this week. It's the one that convinces people the space was never the real problem.